the collusion case that Pablo Torre broke about the NFL, about the guaranteed contract. So we can talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
I want to say it's not. I think it's important what Pablo is doing. Investigative journalism. So he and Florio were trying to get this document about the grievance that was filed by some of the players against the league for basically colluding to ensure other players did not get fully guaranteed contracts after the Browns were like,
let's give all the money to Deshaun Watson.
Hey, Watson, you know how we're going to get you? We're going to give you the most money ever for any player.
Mm-hmm.
NFL saw that and they're like, whoa, pump the brakes, motherfuckers. We do not want to do this.
So it's interesting because Florio came out yesterday and was like, none of the big news agencies are covering this. But yeah, so basically
wait 1 second. Yeah, Florio was saying that when they just dropped that information this morning.
Yeah.
And to go through all of it takes some time. So, and I love what they did. And their conversation on Pablo's YouTube channel, great. But Florio, give him a fucking minute, man. Give him a goddamn day to figure out this hour-long thing that you guys threw out there. That's a 60-page fucking like breakdown of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's just so basically because Deshaun Watson was given so much guaranteed money, and we talked about this too, like around the time it was happening, of how that was going to impact other contracts. So what is being levied here was that basically a whole bunch of organizations got together and were like, hey, we need to make sure that those guarantees are not like the Deshaun Watson contract, to make sure they're a little bit. Let's have some conversations about bringing it down together, which is collusion, similar to how the Packers and the Lions colluded about Brian Branch. Basically the same thing. Nope, it's basically the same thing. Basically just one and one.
I learned that there's a thing called the NFL Management Council that advises on these things to make sure like the rules, I guess, of the CBA are being followed or something. And they're like, we got Roger Goodell telling us to tell the teams to not do the fully guaranteed stuff. And that's what they did.
Yep.
Now, and this is like the conclusion I got to and that I get to in the video basically is that this is a big deal, but it's also not. The NFL basically they colluded together to make sure they just kept doing contracts the way that they were doing contracts, the way that they're allowed to do contracts within the CBA.
Collusion. Like it is, like, right. Sure. Like it doesn't help players because you have a whole bunch of billionaires and millionaires saying like, hey, we want to make sure that we're gonna protect the bottom line.
But right? by rule, the players did not get fully guaranteed contracts in the last CBA. The NFLPA has let them down in that department the last two collective bargaining agreements.
No.
So the NFL is just like, yeah, let's keep doing it the way we were and make sure this Watson thing was the one-off.
It's an outlier. Yeah.
It's also Watson was the worst player they could have chosen to give a fully guaranteed contract in maybe the history of the NFL. Like,
the
only other option I think that would be worse in the last 20 years would be like Aaron Hernandez getting the fully guaranteed contract, right? Like, had this been like Mahomes and he played well, I think teams would be like, you know what? Actually, we are going to take a chance and give our quarterback fully guaranteed money because the benefits outweigh the negatives. But it was Watson, and that was part of the problem.
So the concern is obviously amongst the players is like, hey, if there is collusion that's going on between the organizations, that's going to hurt our bottom line because there's only going to be so much guaranteed money that is going to be given out to players, right? So that is like the problem that people have with that.
Yeah.
That being said, I feel like they could have gotten to the same exact solution without colluding because they could have just, I don't know, waited a season and a half and go, we shouldn't do what the Cleveland Browns did. And I think enough organizations could have come to that conclusion and been like, you know what, guys, we shouldn't do this.
If it was a good organization too, then maybe this shakes out a little bit differently. but it was the Browns.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, let's not do what they're doing, guys. Like, if it were,
we should do that.
if it were a perennially good team, then yeah, it probably opens up a door for guaranteed money. But then this isn't addressed in the thing. Like, wasn't Roger Goodell recently saying that they want to work towards like a solution where teams aren't taking advantage of the loopholes for fake money down the road?
Yeah.
You know what fixes that? Fully guaranteed contracts. So I don't know.
But I mean, you have the Cincinnati Bengals who are fighting to give guarantees, if their first round draft pick gets hurt. Right. So
yeah,
it's always going to come down to money and teams not wanting to spend it. And you can trace a lot of issues back to that, whether it's grass fields, whether it's with the salary cap and having to do with players, that's ultimately they want to keep as much money as humanly possible, which I get. But some of these problems are of their own making. But I feel like, again, if you're sitting here in 2025 and looking back at the Cleveland Browns and the deal that they made with Deshaun Watson, you didn't have to collude. Just
be
wait.
Like, guys,
just wait. Be like,
guys.
No, guys, we shouldn't. I don't think there's a single team in the league right now that is looking at that deal with Deshaun Watson going,
more.
We replicate that. I think that was a pretty good move.
The guy who got fucked is Lamar Jackson. He needed a contract at the wrong time. He doesn't have an agent. I think that's part of the problem on his end. And he still got a good contract, a very good contract.
Yeah.
With I think 185 million guaranteed. And he would have been the right player to push for a fully guaranteed contract, but his negotiations, basically they left like 130 million or so of his deal was not guaranteed. I forget the exact number, because the other like big players in this thing are Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. Also, two guys I don't think are the best examples of players you want fully guaranteed deals with.
Sure.
And it came out, Russ wanted 7 years, 350 fully guaranteed from the Broncos.
You should have gave it to him.
Like, using Russell Wilson as an example of a guy who didn't get paid enough money, it counters your points. It counters them. And we learned Greg Pinner, God bless Walmart and Greg Pinner. He was like, I don't think we should extend Russ. He's got 2 years left on the deal. Why don't we see how this kind of plays out? We love you, Greg. Your foresight, your vision. All hail Greg.
I don't know if there'd be a strike coming, but like this is also like the NFLPA has to advocate for its players. Like this is literally their job.
Yeah.
This is why they get all the players Madden money, and it's the exact same amount of money. Like this is why. So
the biggest bombshell from that whole thing is some of the NFLPA might be bought and paid for. Ish.
Shot. So I don't know if it's going to lead to I don't think it's going to lead to a strike. No. I mean, you would have to have a significant amount of support for that, but
yeah. And they're definitely not going to strike. Like if there's a strike holdout thing, it happens during those collective bargaining negotiations. They use that as leverage. Like, okay, we won't play at all. And then the NFL owners are like, fine, don't play at all. And then there's 60%, 70% of the players in the league can't afford to not play.
Correct. Well, I mean, and it's also their last CBA was so, it's going to sound very harsh, was so anti-player when it comes to sitting out, right? It literally just feeds into, this is just a win-win-win for the ownership / team. Because not only do you lose money every single time that you sit out, but on top of that, like it doesn't even count towards your contract. In terms of like the year doesn't go by. So you are literally just stuck with this team.
Yeah.
So I feel like there have already been plenty of things that have been anti-player, but if this is going to make a ton of waves, which I'm curious to see if it's going to really kind of blow up, I don't think you're going to see a strike out of it.
No.
But maybe if the NFLPA can just do their job, that'd be nice.
I think if they want guaranteed contracts, they have to use that as their leverage when the NFL inserts their 18th game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you want the 18th game? We want guaranteed money.
Yup.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is right? You look